The moment my mother stood up in court and demanded everything I owned, the room went silent. My bank account, my car, my apartment, every single thing I had worked for. And when the judge asked her why, she calmly said, "Because my daughter is mentally unstable and incapable of managing her life." For a second, I thought I had misheard her. But then she slid a stack of papers across the table. A psychiatric evaluation, claiming I was suffering from severe mental illness. And just like that, the woman who abandoned me 15 years ago was trying to take control of my entire life. What she didn't know was that for the past 6 weeks, I had been quietly preparing for this exact moment. And by the time my lawyer opened our file, the judge wasn't looking at me anymore. He was staring directly at my mother. I'm 22 years old. I pay my own rent, own my own car, and work 2 jobs to keep everything afloat. No trust fund. No family support. No safety net. Because when I was 7 years old, my mother disappeared. Not gradually, not slowly. She was just gone. One morning she dropped me off at school like any other day. That afternoon, my father picked me up instead. And when I asked where Mom was, he just said, she needed to leave for a while. A while turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into years. Eventually, I stopped asking. Children learn something very quickly when they're abandoned. If you keep hoping someone will come back, the disappointment never stops hurting. So I built a life without her. My dad wasn't perfect, but he tried. He worked long hours and we struggled financially, but he stayed. Then when I was 16, he died suddenly from a heart attack. After that, it was just me. I worked after school, saved every dollar I could, got scholarships, and eventually rented a small apartment near my college. Everything I owned, every piece of furniture, every bill paid, every step forward, was something I earned. So when my mother walked back into my life after 15 years, I thought maybe she wanted to apologize. I was wrong. The first sign something was wrong came the day she contacted me. It was a random email, no emotion, no apology, just 3 cold sentences. "Hello. I am your mother, Rebecca Lawson. I would like to reconnect and discuss some important matters. Please contact me." That was it. No explanation for disappearing, no acknowledgement of 15 years of silence, just business. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her. We met at a coffee shop downtown. I recognized her instantly. Same face, same voice, same eyes. But there was no warmth in them. She didn't hug me. She didn't even look emotional. Instead, she opened a folder and started asking questions. About my job, my finances, my apartment lease, my car. At first, I thought maybe she was just trying to understand my life. But the way she asked, it felt like an interrogation. Then she asked something that made my stomach drop. "How much money do you currently have in your bank account?" I laughed nervously. "Why would you need to know that?" She smiled. But it wasn't a friendly smile. It was the kind of smile someone makes when they already know something you don't. "You'll understand soon," she said. That was the moment my instincts started screaming. 2 weeks later, I was served court papers. My mother had filed a petition for legal guardianship over me. According to her claim, I was mentally unstable, incapable of making financial decisions, and in need of supervision. If approved, she would gain control over my bank account, my property, my income, my housing, everything. I thought it had to be some kind of mistake. But then I saw the attached document, a psychiatric evaluation, signed by a doctor I had never met. It claimed I suffered from severe emotional instability, impulsive behavior, and financial irresponsibility. The report recommended that a legal guardian manage my life. My hands were shaking as I read it. This woman had been gone for 15 years, and now she was trying to legally declare me incompetent. But the worst part came when I saw the witness list. My younger sister's name was on it. Emily. She had stayed with our mother when she left. I hadn't seen her since I was a kid. And apparently, she was prepared to testify against me. The hearing date was 6 weeks away. At first I panicked. Then I got angry. Then something inside me changed. If my mother wanted to play this game, I was going to finish it. I hired a lawyer. And together, we started asking questions. The first thing my lawyer noticed was the psychiatric report. The formatting looked strange. The licensing number for the doctor didn't match the medical board database. So we investigated further. What we discovered was unbelievable. The doctor listed on the evaluation did exist. But he had retired 3 years earlier, which meant the report submitted to the court was either outdated or completely fake. Then we looked at the financial angle. Why would my mother suddenly want control of my money? That's when we discovered something else. 2 years earlier, she had declared bankruptcy. Massive debt. Lawsuits. Collections. And suddenly everything started to make sense. She wasn't trying to help me. She was trying to own me. Legally. Financially. Completely. But the deeper we dug, the worse it got. 3 weeks into our investigation, my lawyer called me with news. Your mother has a history, he said carefully. Not just debt. Fraud. Identity theft. 2 previous lawsuits involving financial exploitation of relatives. Both cases had settled quietly out of court, which meant she had likely done this before. And now, she was trying it again. With me. But she made one mistake. She assumed I would panic and surrender. Instead, I started collecting evidence. Every email she sent. Every message. Every financial record. We even hired a forensic document analyst to examine the psychiatric report. The conclusion? It was forged. Not altered. Not misinterpreted. Forged. Someone had created it from scratch. And if that evidence was presented in court, the consequences would be devastating. For her. The courtroom was packed the morning of the hearing. My mother arrived with a lawyer and my sister sitting beside her. Emily wouldn't even look at me. When the judge entered, everything went quiet. My mother's attorney spoke first. He described me as emotionally unstable, financially irresponsible, and incapable of caring for myself. Then my mother testified. She cried on cue, said she had returned only out of concern, that she loved me, that she feared for my mental health. Then my sister took the stand, and hearing her words felt like knives. She said I was unpredictable, that I had anger issues, that I couldn't manage my life. I kept my face calm, because I knew something they didn't. When they finished, the judge turned to my lawyer. Counsel, your response? My lawyer stood slowly and opened a thick black folder. Your Honor, he said calmly, we would like to present evidence regarding the authenticity of the psychiatric evaluation submitted by the petitioner. The room went still. My mother shifted slightly in her seat. My lawyer placed the forensic report on the judge's desk. The document submitted by the petitioner has been verified as a forgery. The judge's eyebrows lowered. Then, my lawyer continued, we also have financial records showing the petitioner recently declared bankruptcy and has outstanding debts exceeding $200,000. My mother's face went pale. But my lawyer wasn't finished. And finally, Your Honor, he placed another document forward. Evidence of 2 previous civil cases involving financial exploitation conducted by the petitioner against family members. The courtroom erupted in whispers. The judge's expression hardened. He looked directly at my mother. Mrs. Lawson, do you understand the seriousness of submitting falsified evidence to this court? She started talking rapidly, blaming her lawyer, blaming misunderstandings, blaming everyone except herself. But it was already too late. The judge slammed his gavel, then looked toward the officers near the door. Security. 2 deputies stepped forward immediately. The judge pointed toward my mother and her attorney. Remove them from the courtroom while I review this evidence. My mother started shouting, claiming injustice, claiming conspiracy. But the deputies escorted her out anyway. The doors slammed shut behind her, and the courtroom fell silent. 30 minutes later, the judge returned. His decision was short. The guardianship petition was dismissed immediately. The falsified psychiatric report was referred for criminal investigation, and the court issued a protective order preventing my mother from contacting me again. When the hearing ended, I sat there for a moment, unable to move. 15 years ago, she abandoned me without a word. And today, she tried to steal the life I built without her. But this time, she lost. Completely. As I walked out of the courthouse, sunlight hit my face. For the first time in years, I felt something unexpected. Peace. Because sometimes justice doesn't come from anger. Sometimes it comes from patience, from evidence, from refusing to let the people who hurt you write the ending of your story. And the moment those courthouse doors closed behind me, I realized something. She didn't take anything from me. Not my money. Not my home. Not my life. Because everything I have, I built myself.